All right, grown-ups, it's just our time. I love the babies, but to help you, I gotta speak my mind. This segment's here to help you grow with book reviews, lessons, and things you'll be glad to know. If your little one's restless or looking to play, send them to my other playlist. The read-alouds there will brighten their day. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the Teacher Lady Show. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Teacher Lady Speaks. I'm Miss Erica, the Teacher Lady, your fairy godparent when it comes to sharing joyful stories and growing young minds. Now, here on this segment of the Teacher Lady Show, the Teacher Lady Speaks serves as a crash course or a professional development of that topic, the topic that we were on for that week, okay? It is a way to wrap that week up. So this week's topic is all about helping others. We want to raise children who are generous and who are kind to the people who are around them, okay? So the goal of this week is to help you to help your little. Now, on Monday, we had 2 read-alouds on the topics. We had The Giving Tree as well as The Little Red Hen. Both of those books had a powerful message in regards to the importance of helping those around you. And then on Wednesday, we had the Behind the Book review where we went beyond the pages to get to the heart of the story. Yep, you got it. So we had those reviews in a way to show you how to use those books as a resource to raise children who are more willing to help. And then on Friday, this is your professional development. This is where I dig deep and give you whatever resources or information that I can to raise children who are more helpful. So let's go ahead and jump into it. You ready? Let's grow. Defining this topic for a young child. So some topics actually don't have to be defined. What I would do is I would look at examples in my day-to-day life that my child is helpful, that they're being helpful, and I will point them out. And the reason why is because so many times with children, giving a practical example or teaching in the moment, as I like to call it, goes way further. So they've decided to hold the door open for you while you have a bunch of stuff in your hands. We're not just going to brush past that. We're going to point it out. Thank you for helping me. Thank you for holding the door open for me. You're in a process of cooking and they come in and they have a desire to help you to cook. Wow, I really appreciate you making dinner with me. I really appreciate you pausing the TV and coming over to help. If you point out the things that they're doing well, and in regards to helping or anything, those are the things that will grow. Children, honestly, like adults, they want attention. That is most child's desire is to be seen, right? We all love to be seen. And for children, that's amplified. And so because of that, sometimes that's even how you get negative behaviors. The child is exploding and they're angry and they're being rough and all of these things because it gets the attention of the adults around them. So regardless of good attention, bad attention, attention is still attention nonetheless, okay? So we want to make sure to give a lot of energy and high praise and high fives to the things that we love and start to bring down all of the kind of response to the things that we don't. So that is also true for this topic of helping. Let's keep growing. As always, on the Teacher Lady Show, we like to compare 2 states. We compare the state of Texas to the state of California in terms of their curriculum to figure out what it is that your child might be learning on that topic in school, okay? Now, I always say this isn't a perfect system. Just because the curriculum says that they'll learn it in class does not necessarily mean your child will actually learn it in class. But let's see what is required in each state in regards to having children help others. In California, lessons on helping others fall under the transformative social and emotional learning competencies and the health education standards, specifically within the areas of social awareness and relationship skills. Students are expected to recognize how their behavior affects others, demonstrate empathy and compassion, show respect and kindness, and cooperation in daily interactions. The California SEL guiding principles encourage teachers to foster classroom communities that celebrate service, collaboration, and restorative practices, helping children develop a sense of belonging and responsibility for one another. Because if a child feels responsible, they are more likely to help. Let's keep going. Many California schools also include service learning or community projects as part of the history social science framework, allowing students to connect civic responsibility with real world compassion. So in California, there are things that are embedded to the curriculum specifically for grades K through 6. California's curriculum also has a lot of project-based learning, as does Texas curriculum, and just the ability to work with other people helps in regards to teaching children to be more helpful and more generous to those who are around them, okay? In Texas, the concept of helping others is embedded in the health education and positive character traits and personal skills standards. So this is going to be Title 19, Chapter 120. These standards require children to demonstrate respect and empathy towards others, show kindness, compassion, and cooperation, identify ways to help in school, at home, and in the community. Elementary students learn that being helpful builds stronger friendships and communities. By middle and high school, lessons expand to include volunteerism, teamwork, and leadership, emphasizing that service is part of good citizenship and is. So together, both states connect helping others to social emotional learning and civic engagement, preparing students to be not just smart learners, but kind human beings. There are standards that directly connect to teaching children to be more mindful and more kind to those who are around them. Now, on the same token, though, children also face a huge thing when it comes to bullying and peer pressure and combating that. And that also influences whether or not they want to be helpful. So a lot of times children will not be helpful because it doesn't look cool in front of a certain student or because they're trying to gain some sort of popularity. So in the curriculum altogether, these are not like direct standards to say children must be able to help others by the 3rd grade. But what is very clear is the encouragement and the pushing of collaboration within classrooms, of being mindful of other people and their culture and their needs, as well as a lot of project-based and hands-on learning. So teamwork and leadership and all of these things definitely help to raise a child that is more mindful when it comes to helping and showing up for others. So I would say good job this time around for both states. Let's keep growing. So I am going to share some resources that you can implement within your home to raise children who are more mindful around best practices when it comes to helping others, okay? So the first is DoSomething.org, kids and family volunteering. So this is easy, age-appropriate volunteer projects from neighborhood cleanups to care packages, okay? So this is basically going to give you ideas on how your family can come together to go into the community and do good work. Now, for some of you, you probably can be creative on your own on ways that you can help the neighborhood, ways that you can help the school. But if you wanted some ideas, this is definitely a good website or resource to check out. The next thing I want to encourage you to look into is local service projects. So if you take a look around, you will recognize that everybody needs help. That school needs volunteers for something, that church needs their walls painted or something cleaned up. Your neighbor could absolutely utilize help because they 83 years old. All around you, which means all around your child, are opportunities to show up. And so in the first resource, if you're like, I don't know what to do, that is a good, resource to look at. But also just look at where you stand. Where do you go every day? What do you do every day? What does your child do every day? And where do they go every day? And what are opportunities for them to show up? The more that you do in terms of showing up for communities, so participating in that local canned food drive or taking old toys and clothes to a shelter, the more that you do these things as part of your day-to-day, the more that child will normalize generosity and helping those around them. The next resource I want to share is Kids Helping Kids. Now, this is a branch off from GoFundMe. GoFundMe, the fundraising platform, they have an area of the website specifically dedicated to children. So this platform highlights real stories of young people helping their communities through fundraising and acts of service. Children can read about other kids' projects, get inspired, and create their own service ideas with adult guidance. Children's contributions truly do matter and make a difference. So oftentimes, if you want your child to do something, you want to show another child doing the same thing. And this website really does highlight the beautiful work that youth are doing. The next resource is called Random Act of Kindness Foundation shares hundreds of kindness activities designed specifically for children, from helping classmates to supporting neighbors. Each idea comes with simple steps, conversation prompts, and opportunities for reflection. It's a wonderful resource for building empathy and turning everyday moments into acts of service. The next resource is called UNICEF Kid Power, helping others through movement. UNICEF Kid Power lets children earn Kid Power coins by completing workouts, challenges, and movement activities. These coins unlock real-world impact, including food packets for malnourished children and support for global programs. So this teaches children that helping others can come from using their own energy and overall their heart. I really like this one. It reminds me of, I don't know if you ever heard of a read-a-thon. We used to have these read-a-thons in school where you would read so much and then so much money could be donated, or your family could give you money. It is just another way for children not only to earn, but to give back at the same time. So I really, really love this resource. Of course, if you want more, you know to subscribe to my newsletter by going on the website, scrolling down, and giving me your email address, and I will happily send you more resources. But for today, the last resource I'm going to share is We Are Teachers, Service Learning Projects for Kids. Now, I love this resource because so often you send us your babies to our classroom and they see us as another parent instead of an active part of the school and community. And so we spend that year trying to convince your child and get your child to participate in this way that is very helpful and meaningful. So weareteachers.com is a website that offers a wide range of service learning projects suitable for home or school, from creating care packages to writing thank you letters to community helpers. Each activity includes instructions, materials, and reflection questions to deepen empathy. It's an easy starting point for families wanting to nurture generosity and leadership. Okay, so again, it takes some of the thought process out of, well, how do I get my child to do something that's helpful? And it gives a variety of ideas. And a lot of those ideas, because it is designed by educators, folds over to the classroom as well. Best practices at home. This one I touched on earlier, but it's super valuable, so I'll run it back. You have to make sure that you are pointing out when your child is being generous, when they do something that is kind, when they do something that is extra. You don't ever want to get to a point to where, and I guess this is true for your marriage, for your children, for your coworkers, you don't ever want to get to a point to where a person is so kind consistently that you stop acknowledging that kindness. And if you want to raise children who are willing to help others and show up for others, you are going to have to put intentionality into pointing out the things that you appreciate so that they will keep doing them. The next best practice is to be mindful of children overextending or overhelping, because anything can be too much. Okay, you can die from drinking too much water if you overdo it. Anything in excess is not good. And you have some children, sometimes it's a self-esteem thing, sometimes they want other people to like them, but you will find that they are coming to the school and they are giving away all their lunch and they're letting everybody cut them in line. And, you know, their friend doesn't have a pencil, so now they're giving their pencil, but they only have one pencil, so now they're not able to write. You have children, and I've seen this with students, that overgive, and they overgive to a point that it's not healthy. Helping is only helping if it does not hurt you. If it's going to cause you pain, not inconvenience, I feel like we're all inconvenienced all the time, but pain. If it's going to hurt you, if you have $50 to feed your family for the week and somebody calls you and say, hey, can I borrow $40? You don't have the $40 to give because you only have $50 for the week. So there was a week that we had on the Teacher Lady Show about boundaries and consent, and it touches on overextending as well. But you want to make sure with the children that are super, super sweet and really, really kind and super, super friendly, that they are not giving to a point of hurting themselves. Okay, so make it a rule that you only help when it doesn't hurt. And if it hurts, then it's not help. Along those same lines, you want to make sure that your children know not to be taken advantage of. And what that means is they are constantly giving, constantly giving, constantly giving, constantly giving. And it's supposed to be a two-way relationship, like a friendship. And there is no reciprocation. Again, I'm going to refer you to my week on friendship. You see, I got a week for all of this. But ensuring that specifically when it comes to close relationships, that you help and you also receive help, that there is a balance there that is super important. The next best practice is to have your child take lead on projects for things that they are interested in. And so if your child is really passionate about environmental justice and helping the environment, have them come up with a project-based idea. Maybe they want to do a cleanup day at the beach, or maybe they just want to walk the neighborhood, and really encourage them to help community and to help the people around them. The more that you can remove it as this chore, you have to help, you have to do, you have to show up, you have to give, be kinder, be nicer, the more that it will start to resonate with that child as something that is normal and part of their day-to-day lives, okay? So all of these things kind of add up to having a child that is willing to show up for community, willing to show up for other people, while also understanding that they deserve to be shown up for. It is a two-way street. Now, the last thing that I'll say in terms of best practice is that at times in the beginning, when a child is just kind of learning the way the world works, you will have children who are literally not aware of the people who are around them. They are very self-centered. A lot of children are self-centered. It takes them a while to figure out there's other people. In the beginning, you might have to push that help. So, hey, I need you to hold the door open because I can't hold it open myself. Don't necessarily leave it to chance if you have a child right now that's not helping at all. If you have a child that's only thinking about themselves, if you have a child that, doesn't want to show up, don't just say, well, the teacher lady said when she does do something nice, celebrate it. Or when he does do something good, celebrate it. No, parent. Parenting means, hey, this is what I need help with. This is what I need support with. This is what I need from you right now. Now, after you parent and you enforce or reinforce that thing, you can now celebrate the efforts behind it. So if you need help folding them towels and they're like, well, I don't want to fold the towels. Well, I didn't want to wash the towels and I don't want to buy the towels. You need to come help fold these towels. Then when they fold the towels, you can say, I do appreciate it. I understand it took away from your time on a video game, but thank you for helping me. And then you go on about your day. You might have to push the things that you need help with. And I also want to say that so much of the weight as parents is on us to kind of figure it all out. And we should be utilizing other people's ability to help us. So if you have an able-bodied child who can run upstairs while you're in the middle of cooking, send them upstairs. If you have a child who is wheelchair bound, but their hands function and you need help kneading the dough, have them knead the dough. That is a reference from our Read Aloud this week, The Little Red Hen. Be sure to check that out. Whatever your child is able to do, have them do it. This doesn't have to be to the point of overwhelming, right, or stressing them out, but they need to understand that no jobs in this house is invisible work. Somebody is doing it, and that somebody should also be you, okay? So implement these practices in your day-to-day. Don't be afraid to parent your child. Have them show up. Point out when you show up, not in this way to throw it back in their face, but hey, you folding those towels really allowed me to get the dinner on the table quicker, and I know you're hungry, so thank you so much. Now, along those same lines, when it comes to helping others, you want to teach your child that they do not have to remind their friend how helpful they were. Hey, you remember yesterday? You remember yesterday I let you use my markers? Remember yesterday? You used my markers yesterday. Remember yesterday? Remember yesterday? That is not giving from a place of love and from a place of generosity. If you have to constantly remind the person of what you've done for them, there is something off with that balance. And so I would normalize giving without expecting, and I would normalize giving in this way that I don't have to worry about it anymore. I don't need to bring up the 50 million things that I did. Now, like I said earlier, when it comes to friendships, there should be a reciprocation. But if you have to consistently point out to your friends the things that you've done, then you might need to find new friends, because the beauty of helping others is just support. It's just love. It's just, hey, I'm able to, so here you go. Don't worry about it. There's also a real balance that should happen when it comes to helping others and supporting those around you. With my husband, it's not always 50-50, but it always balances out. Some days he takes 70% of the weight and I'm managing 30 because my 30 is enough to stress me all the way out. Some days he's picking up 30 and I'm carrying 70. There is a balance that takes place. And when your child understands that they are part of community, which we also have a week on community and civic duty, go check that out. But when your child understands that they are part of community, that other people cannot help them as much if they don't help as well, that it really is a give and take situation in society that we should live in, it will help them to want to show up. When to seek help. If you have that child that's not doing nothing, I don't want to help, I'm not doing it. The tantrums, the attitudes, the refusing to give things that they're no longer using. You haven't used a shirt in years, yet and still you want to hoard it and hang on to it. You just have that child overall that it feels impossible to get any level of kindness or support out of them. It might be time to seek help. There might be some underlying issues that you don't know of, and there is no problem with going to go get the help that your child needs. Now, this help might look in the form of your school guidance counselor, if you have one, saying, hey, these are the behaviors that I'm seeing. Along those same lines, I would connect with that child's educator. Hey, this is what I'm seeing at home. Are you seeing the same thing at school? Let me tell you something. Children are the worst with the people they feel the most comfortable with. So you will think something is completely wrong with your child, like, oh, I know they done lost their mind or what if they're acting. And then you'll go to talk to the teacher and they don't act like that at school at all. Sometimes there is a true disconnect because your child acts up, or the same thing if there are two parents, right? You have, let's say, one mom and one mom. And with this mom, they're calm, cool, and collected. And with this mom, they're constantly freaking out. The child response oftentimes has to do with their environment and their trust for those parents, or that parent. The more comfortable, and I know it's so backwards, it's like, if you love me the most, if you trust me the most, then be kinder to me. But it's actually quite opposite when it comes to children. If they feel comfortable with you, they will act a fool. Like they will let it all loose and hang out. So this section of when to seek help, I would start with talking to the other adults around that child. Are they showing these behaviors just with you and have found a way to kind of release all of their frustrations just with you? Maybe they're being manipulative with you, or is this normal for them? Normal in the sense that they're showing the same behaviors when they're in Sunday school at church. They're showing the same behaviors at regular school. They're showing the same behaviors at soccer practice. And if that is the case, then it's time to seek help. Okay. And you might need help anyway, to be honest, just because even if it is just with you, it's just with you and it's just too much. So that is all right as well. But when you are trying to figure out whether or not there is an underlying issue, you definitely want to connect with the other adults in that child's life. And some support might look like that guidance counselor, might look like that teacher, definitely the local library, even if you don't love books, your local church, even if you don't love the Lord. Why? Libraries and churches are both charitable non-profits. Okay, these are places that are designed to help. They're supposed to help community. When you go to the library, that local librarian might know a lot of classes your child can take. They might be able to put you in touch with a therapist network that accepts your insurance. They might have some ideas around movies or books or magazines that could help that child with their emotional regulation, which we also have a week on. And that list continues. And then with the church, there are a lot of things that happen outside of the Sunday service at church. Churches sometimes have family days where you can bring your family to kind of be in community with other people, or food pantries if you're struggling in that sense. And so when I say seek help, what I'm trying to say is you at this point are telling me that you do not have all the answers. And how can you possibly teach something or correct something that you don't understand yourself? So you're now going to go outside the home to get some additional support and resources. If none of those things work, go to your doctor. That child's medical doctor might have some ideas around what's going on with them emotionally that is causing them to refuse to help. Because at the core of it, children might have a little attitude when you say, hey, clean up your mess, but it shouldn't be to the point of a tantrum or an outburst. You as the grown-up should not be scared to correct or parent your child. And if you have gotten to that point, then you need some extra support. Common questions. What if my child only wants to help when they get something in return? Oh, I understand. I have a 7-year-old daughter. Love my daughter to life. My daughter is the best negotiator I have ever met. It is always an add-on, right? If I say, hey, eat that salad, well, then can I have a cookie? There is never a situation to where the thing can just be the thing. And here is what I would say. I would explain that the best helpers do so out of the love and kindness of their heart. Now, I told you earlier that while the child is young, 7 years old is still young. While that child is young, you might have to implement helping others. That might not come automatic to that child all the time, and that is okay. But as they grow older, you want them to understand that you are helping because you're able to help. You're helping because at one point you needed help. You're helping because that is what keeps the flow of our home. That is what keeps the flow of your school. That is what keeps the flow of your community. So many people want to receive community without being community. So many people want to receive help without being willing to help. And so the more that you normalize the fact that they too needed help, they too will need help. They too continue to need help. And so therefore, if they want to continue to receive, they have to give. It's going to be extremely important for a child like this. And take it with a grain of salt, because in my experience, being around hundreds of kids at this point, it really takes till about 15 years old for some of these things to sink in. Okay. So if you have a selfish 5-year-old, I would not stress out about it. Let's keep growing. How do I teach my child to balance helping others while also setting boundaries? I did touch on this question earlier, but essentially you want to remind them that help is only help if it does not hurt, okay? That is the rule of thumb. So your friend, you're in a pottery making class, and your friend drops their pot and it shatters. And if you go to pick it up to help them clean it up, you're going to cut yourself. That's now a hurt. That's now a ouch. So I can't do that. I can't help them by picking this up because it will hurt me. Now, I might be able to help them by going to go get a broom or a teacher or somebody else who can do something, but I cannot do that because it will hurt me. If I give my friend my entire lunch, I'm going to be hungry. But what you want to teach your child is that it is okay to do what they can. Okay. Meaning they are not responsible for saving the entire world. If your friend left their lunch at home and now they don't have a lunch, you giving them your lunch is going to put you in a situation you're trying to get them out of. So what are some alternative things that you can do? Maybe you can give a small portion of something. Definitely should get an adult involved. You should see if maybe they can go to the cafeteria if there's something there. But you cannot give to a point of pain. And it took me a really long time to learn this concept because I am a very loyal person. For a long time, I was loyal to a fault, and I would give and I would do so much for people, and oh, you have such a big heart and blah, 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 blah. But for one, it was never reciprocated, which is a problem when it comes to friendships. But for two, I was giving to a point of hurt. So I literally did not have it to give the things that were being asked of me, yet and still I was giving them anyway. And now on the back end, I'm trying to figure out how to make it work. That's a no-go. And all of these concepts start early. A lot of this also has to do with confidence. What if my child is trying to buy the love of others? At this point, I have gone over this. We've talked about some practices. Just remind your child that they themselves are enough. They're beautiful. They don't have to give a bunch of money. They don't have to buy a friendship. They don't have to sacrifice their food or their toy or their game. They get to love themselves. And they get to give from a place of loving themselves. And if somebody around them is making them feel bad, well, you won't give that to me, so you're not my friend. That's called manipulation. And true friendships don't consist of things like that. True friendships, you give what you can and your friend gives what they can, and it balances out in the end. So all of these kind of life lessons really do go hand in hand with helping others and with raising children who are generous yet and still mindful of how far they go so that they're not in a point of paying themselves. Let's keep growing. Wow. Thank you so much for learning with me, for being part of this book-loving community. I am so grateful that you all are here. I hope that you have learned something new from this episode. If you did not know, I'm also an author and illustrator, and those 9 diverse books encouraged a program called the Empathy Library. Now, the Empathy Library is a way that we give back. It is a way for us to get books to children in need on purpose, okay? So whatever the uniqueness of that child, we want to have books that represent them. And so go on the website, check out the Empathy Library, check out my books, subscribe to the newsletter and the channel. And until next time, remember to enjoy the moment or go be a joy in the moment. Bye.